G'day and welcome to Inforunners. I'm Execute. Today I'm with Shockwave and Kerby. They are, I don't know, how do I call this? Tank operators in real life, or tank people, or tonkers as people call them. And they're basically going to go over the tank with me, or the tonk, and they're going to tell me some stuff that they like about it, some stuff they don't like about it, and things that CIG could actually improve. So I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. So I'll start with let's start with Kerby. Kerby, tell me, what do you do for a living? And well, that's, oh, he salutes. He's very fancy. Look at that. I saw him do that again.
So I am a U.S. Army Master Gunner, infantryman by trade, but I have experience with a lot of Cav Scouts and all. Platforms I'm very experienced with is the Abrams, Bradley, all the different Striker models. My job is essentially I train various tanker crews, commanders, gunners, and drivers on the full spectrum, as well as how to just not only work the vehicle individually, but as a team, and how to work well as a team, be able to conduct live fire safely.
So
And
you'd
train
be
beyond that.
the perfect person to tell CIG how to make a tank, essentially, because you kind of do it for a living. That's kind of crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah. And yourself there, Shockwave, tell people a little about you. So because you're not from, I guess, a standard Western country, are you? Where are you from, sir? And what do you?
Well,
What do you do?
technically, it is a Western country.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I'm from Israel, and I served the normal 3 years conscription as a tank gunner
Mm-hmm.
on a Merkava 4, which is the newest version we have.
Okay.
Yeah. I have some experience in real warfare.
Mm-hmm. Which is
yeah. So,
a lot of us won't have that, so that's very important. All right, so where do you boys want to start? We're obviously in game, so this is Kerby here, and this is Shockwave here, just so you can tell who's who. And then there's little old me, and I'm just in like a normal cold suit. So we're on Daymar. We do have someone that's been hassling us, so if we randomly explode, you know why. But yeah, kick it off, guys. Where do you want to start?
Shockwave, why don't you get us started off with a couple comments?
all right. So, first of all, we have some basic design faults that we're not mad about, and they could be easily fixed.
Mhm.
But you could clearly see that CIG didn't have an actual tank person to guide them through it. So there are tiny stuff that are mostly visual,
Yep.
and there are deeper problems that are like gameplay problems, and we'll get onto them as we go on.
Okay.
Like I mean, the most forward example would be if you look under the turret.
Yep.
You could see like the camera
Yep.
for the gunner, and it warrants the bottom elevation.
Mhm.
And I mean, if you would place it to the side or on the top, which is usually where it's at on most tanks, then you could have a lower elevation, which is also pretty much necessary because of the gun depression.
Mhm.
I mean, if you want to try to go uphill and aim forward, then it prevents you from lowering your aim.
I
That could be
think
a
this is
problem.
the guy that was been annoying us has just turned up again.
Yeah,
Anyway,
just
we'll
came
we'll
back.
ignore him the best we can. Right. So yeah. So camera's under the gun. The camera should be on top of the gun or to the side of the gun, not underneath it. Right. Okay. What was the other one you were talking about with this turret gun should be in line with the main gun? Because that was something else you mentioned earlier. So,
Yeah, so basically, normally you would have a coaxial gun, which is basically it sits in parallel to the gun. So the gunner would aim only with a single aim, and he could choose with either trigger depending on the tank variant. So in our tanks, for example, you could either aim, you could either have a switch that swaps between the gun and the machine gun, or you actually have a gun pedal on your leg that you could use, like a drum or a piano, that you could just like press on it and use the gun. So just for a quick use.
and that's pretty easy fixable too, because that's a remote turret, so that's something they could
Yeah.
just reposition. So that's no big.
Yeah, it's also, I noticed when you enter the starter with it, then it tank is starting to elevate for some reason.
What? Yeah. Ooh, okay. Mysteriously floating tank. Hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Anything else external that you want to look at? I remember you said something about the lights.
Yeah, so it's a little bit harder to see right now because we got daytime, but if you look beneath the tracks, you got two lights over
Yep.
here and over here. Under the turret, like around, yeah,
Mm.
like almost just under the turret, and then you got like, you can see here on the front and
Yep.
on the back. And there's a lot of lights that when you're in the dark,
Yeah.
at nighttime, so it's really, really visible from a distance, as you saw earlier.
Yeah, so I was in a reclaimer earlier, and I was almost a kilometer away, and I could actually see the tank at night. I could make out the outline from these lights on the ground. So yeah, obviously that's a really easy fix. Just allow people to turn the lights off. So yeah, I think that'll come in time without a shadow of a doubt. All right, is there anything else externally you want to look at, or do you want to move inside?
So
Just
I guess I'll
one-
make my last comments on the external portion.
Yep.
Tracks. They did a great job with the tracks. They actually look really nice. Something that you could see is definitely maneuverable. You can see where like the tread marks are. You can see where the pads are. You can see where like an operator, if they had to replace this, could actually get in there and start actually doing the work with it.
Driver, can you just reverse like 2 meters, please, just so we can see the tracks on the ground? So yeah, they do actually make tracks on the ground. Cool.
Yeah, like you said, camera underneath, not optimal. You're looking at probably at most 3 degrees of gun depression, which is a massive disadvantage if you're trying to cross over a hill. Otherwise, externally wise, I think it's not bad. You see where like the countermeasures are on top of the turret. You can see the design layout is there. Something that is interesting is the amount of exhaust on the vehicle. Like they have 2 exhausts on both sides, but we haven't really been able to discern where the engine quite exactly is. But we'll kind of talk about that.
If
as
you
we
look
get
at where
inside.
Starlet is sitting, like stand parallel to the tank and look where Starlet is sitting, and look at the front of the tank, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of space for whatever engine is supposed to be there.
And Wavium and future stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. The other thing was, I remember when we were in the main gun, when the co-pilot gun was firing, it would almost blind the main gunner as well.
Absolutely, and that's not good because you want that commander needs to be able to use the remote weapon station, be able to use that tracer on target to help the gunner find targets.
Quickly get in and close the door so those guys are not annoying us. So come in and close the door. It'll be claustrophobic, but we'll make it work. All right. So one of the things that we did see earlier too was when we destroyed another tank, all the components in the tank were actually on the walls and stuff. Starlet, do you want to get out and go get another tank that we can shoot to show that off? If that's cool with you. So we'll ask her to get out, and you can probably... Do you want me to drive, or do you want to drive?
Drive. It's fine.
Yep. Alright, so Starlet's coming out. I've just been playing driver so people couldn't steal the tank, because they were driving us a little bit crazy. Thank you.
So while we're in the tank and we're getting things set up,
Yep.
awesome things about the vehicle. Great amount of space in here for a crew. Definitely some stuff that's limited by the gameplay mechanics of crawling and all, not being fully functional. But as a crewman, it'd be really cool to have this much space. You see dedicated weapons racks. Normally, those stations are usually right by where the commander or the gunner or drivers are, individually speaking. So that's nice. And it looks like there's plenty of opportunity to be able to conduct maintenance on this vehicle from internal as well. That's plus.
Yeah, the maintenance part is really great. I mean, it saves you a lot of the problems that current tanks do because they, in modern life, then you have to have the tank the smallest form that you can, so it's not visible from the distance. So most of the components are literally outside of the tank. So you have to go out of the tank to perform any sort of real maintenance on it, except on the gun itself.
Yeah, okay. So, I'm kind of... Yeah, so that pretty much covers almost everything. So what would you... Like, if you had to rate it out of 100, what would you kind of rate the tank yourselves? If you could give it a rating.
Why don't you go for a Shockwave?
On what aspect, though?
Overall, everything.
So I think for a first iteration, they did a wonderful job, especially without consulting the actual focusman. And there's some room to improvement, a lot of small things that can be fixed very quickly, in my opinion, for game development time. I think it's a good it's a good first iteration, and I mean, it depends on what direction they want to go from here, either for this tank or future tanks they want to add. But it has a lot of potential.
Mhm.
I like it. I
So-
quite
so
like
out-
it. I don't like the green camouflage, but I like the other skins are pretty good.
So out of 100, what's the score that you would give it? As a first iteration, like out of 100, what's the score you would give it?
I'd give it about 75, I'd guess.
Okay. What about yourself, Kirby? Oh, also, whoever's driving, can you head over to where Starlet is to her tank? Yeah, Kirby, your thoughts and rating.
So, my thoughts on the tank. I think I would definitely give it a. I would give it 80 out of 100. The vehicle itself, it misses a few marks here and there, but honestly, for its first iteration of the tank, Star Citizen is not a tank game. So there's some features like the commander. He doesn't have like a target designate. He doesn't have the ability to control the gun himself. But those are all features that can be worked on and taken care of as well. I think honestly, it's a good representation. It's a great start point, especially for expanding ground vehicles and introducing them into theaters.
All right, so Starlet's just I don't know, like 10 o'clock down the hill down there. But let Starlet get out. We don't want to kill her. She can get out, and then we'll destroy it, and we'll go have a look at the inside and look at those components we were talking about.
Do you mind driving and execute?
Yeah, I can do that. I just can't film and drive.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here, I can take that over there.
Yeah. So.
You see, so right now she's standing right in front of me.
Yep.
Like barely any degrees, and I can't aim at her.
Alright, so you can make me rub seat? Yep, cool. No worries, I'll get
If
back.
I had that
Oh,
extra five angles, then
Yeah.
I could hit her. And that's the fault of that camera.
I
So
can't.
I'll bring it down.
Alright, I'm
All
not
right.
gonna see finally.
Let Starlet get out, and then I'll give the commands. Gunner, Tonk, 1 o'clock, 100 meters. Fire and adjust. Target, ceasefire. Crew dismount.
Destroyed completely.
So it does kill things fairly quickly at the moment, doesn't it? So
It was a
hopefully-
one shot, and I thought they nerfed it a bit, but it seems still to. I mean, I aimed at the turret, and it got blown clean off.
Gunner, where'd you aim when you shot that target?
I shot the turret directly.
Okay.
So tell us what your thoughts on the placement of these. Oh, hang on, I'm gonna have to wait for the turret to despawn. And the back
If I-
doors. The back door's not open like it was on the other one. You might have to wait. I think
I think you can walk through it, yeah.
Maybe
think-
Starlet can open it.
No, I think it's when the fire went out. Oh no, you can walk through it. You can walk through
Yeah.
it. So you can actually see these components on the walls. So you could. I think this is technically for when you're going to be able to come in and pick them up and stuff like that. So that's still pretty cool. Gun racks in place because obviously you're going to have to be able to pick up guns. So yeah, I think it's a little bit leading to where you'll be able to take some of the components out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the fire will also extinguish soon enough,
Yeah.
which is
And
also nice.
one of the other things I picked up that are different from other games too is the body of the tank doesn't just turn into like a destroyed tank. It actually still retains the colors and the paintwork of
Yeah, and
of
it
the
does
vehicle.
have some damage like on the top, but most of it is clean.
Alright then, I hope you guys have enjoyed this kind of a bit more detailed walkthrough. We'll still do a buyer's guide on the tank, but I really wanted to go through it with these guys because they know these tanks inside and out, and it's kind of like a professional point of view, like some of the other stuff we've done. Yeah, so I'd like to thank Kirby for his time, and Shockwave, and Starlet for helping out as well. And yeah, do you guys want to say anything before we head off?
Absolutely. Hey, so new feature that came about with the Inforunners Discord channel was Ask a Professional. It's not just military professionals, but professionals within mining, potentially medical, and it's going to keep expanding as we keep going. So if you have any questions, it doesn't have to be just about the game, but even just like organizational stuff, feel free to drop the questions in there. There's hundreds of different people, like not hundreds, but probably a dozen few different people in there that can help answer the question.
That might be good
and then
for
we'll
you.
put it up there and share it.
That might be good for you guys too, if anyone's got direct questions for you guys as tank people. And you're not the only tank people in there, are you? There's a couple other
No.
guys as well.
So we have an Israeli tanker here, we got an American tanker myself, but we also have a British tanker as well. So it's quite the diversity of viewpoints.
All right then. Thank you again, gentlemen, and thank you for your time. I'm gonna call it that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.